I wanted to ask you guys about.
Yes.
Because like somebody was asking me that, but
here we go.
I think a lot of comedians be online using the comedy thing, but you see that they're trying to spread political opinions that are like rather serious.
Oh God.
You know what I'm talking about, right? But
Yes.
and I think the late night shows are partially like very guilty of that.
Yep.
And do you think it doesn't obfuscate a little bit the whole idea of like these are just jokes a little bit?
Well, can you first define the word obfuscate?
Yeah, I knew that was gonna.
Obviously,
You don't know
means,
Office Gate?
Makes it
Oh, Office Gate.
Yeah.
yeah, Office Gate.
What? Yeah.
It's like
When
Watergate.
When they stealing like the staplers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically, it just mixes it up. It makes it confusing.
What are you saying is confusing specifically?
Well, it's like
the late night shows?
yeah, sometimes they'll be like, oh, you know, we're just out here joking.
They don't
but
care about the political opinions at all. All that is a function of, and I learned this recently just from being on a movie, it's a function of just not trying to lose your job. So a lot of people are writers for a show, and they can write the bit that leans conservative, which could potentially get them in trouble and then maybe get them fired because someone else is worried about losing their job.
Yeah.
Right? Or they can write the bit that leans liberal, which you'll never get fired for. Nobody's ever gotten fired for being too liberal.
Okay.
Right? No one's ever
Balenciaga. Very, very liberal.
And we should get into that. That's fucking hilarious. But in terms of like being too accepting, right? Like I think when we're all in an environment, and the reason I say this, I was doing a movie and a guy got fired, a white dude, old guy, got fired. He was working on the movie for reading the script, and the script had the N-word.
Okay.
Right? And I asked some of the actors, black actors, right? It was a majority black movie.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I was like, yo, were you offended by that? And they're like, no. It's in the script. It's his job to tell what's going on in the scene. Maybe he could have not said it, but I wasn't like, I can't move on with this movie. But the overcorrection was the studio going, okay, we got to make sure that this doesn't look bad on us. We can't make it look like there's this racist. Okay, he's fired. Now everything, send the diversity people over. Everybody's just trying to protect themselves. And the easiest way to protect yourself is to be open-minded about everything, which is more liberal.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like, how can we infuse liberal ideology into the population through late night shows?
So you don't, when you see Colbert or when you see Trevor Noah, you don't feel like those are their real political opinions?
I mean, with Trevor Noah, it's like, you just got here. Like, I don't even understand it. Like, I don't care about politics, and I bear the consequences of all of it.
No, but Trevor Noah had a bit that went viral. I'm pretty sure it was him, well before The Daily Show, about racism and like, it was racism toward blacks in America.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was years.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his other shit that,
Oh, no.
the tweets that went viral.
No.
No, listen, I'm sure he's interested, and I'm sure he's interested in America as it reflects to him, like a biracial person that comes from a place of extreme racism and like what the different versions of that are here, of course. But to care about who's the senator of Montana, like, there's no way you care. I don't care. I don't know who the governor of New York is.
Hockey?
Something like that.
Hochul?
I don't know. I just found out it's a lady.
Yeah.
Hockey?
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and shout out to her.
Why is she that?
We'll bleep it. So we're gonna.
She is though. She is.
But shout out to her though, and her family. Shout out to her and her family. But I guess my point is like, you don't care that much. No one really cares that much. It's a nice bag. But Trevor makes so much goddamn money doing stand-up right now. He don't need that fucking 4-day-a-week job. So he's out. So yeah, I don't think people care that much.
Nah, he's out because he's fucking Dua Lipa. That's a game changer.
Ain't gonna make me leave.
I gotta give him a little pushback.
Okay, go.
Jon Stewart.
Yes.
He's not doing it anymore, but he's still in politics and he actually cares.
He fucking cares.
Jon Stewart
He is still
the
doing
goat
it.
for actually caring.
But he actually cares, and he cared even when he wasn't doing the show. I genuinely think that he's like irritated, bothered, concerned, like wants to help, and like you can see it through his actions.
Yeah.
But he's also from here. These are like his people, and he has the platform and the influence. Like if I went to another country, I wouldn't try to fix it.
It depends. If you
You
stuck
know what I mean?
to
If I went to London, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna be the
I do know what he's saying though, and we've
politics.
said this about Jon Stewart, how he started this thing of like, comedy is political more than other people. You would have been better, but like now you are having a political message through your comedy and a through line. And Stewart was the best at it and genuinely felt it. But then it became this kind of expectation that your comedy has a political slant. So it got a little bit away from, hey, these are just jokes. And now it's, hey, here's my political agenda with jokes behind it.
Also, there's an audience behind it. Like, that's the thing about you throw something up on Twitter and it leans into a group and they all reward it. You feel that and it's cozy, I imagine. So I think people who gravitate towards a appreciation and validation are going to say the things that get appreciated and validated.
Sure.
And it's very difficult as a comedian to be like, ugh, I don't want that type of validation.
Yeah.
Why? What do you think? You think like they're using it as a shield? They're using the jokes as a shield for a political motivation?
I think there's a giant difference between what I'll see at an open mic or at a comedy show and some of the stuff I see online. And I feel like for some folks online, that's the real political message. And I think the whole idea of like, oh, these are just jokes kind of doesn't nearly apply to them the same way I'd see it apply to somebody at a comedy show doing jokes.
I think
It feels distinctly different. Like when I watch Steven Crowder, for example, and maybe you guys don't attribute him the whole comedian shield thing, but like he will often use that. And I'm like, well, your shit clearly has a political slant. It feels drastically different. So I'm wondering if that applies to everyone.
Still funny. It's fine. It's funny.
Yes.
Funny is funny, and you have to accept it,
Absolutely.
even if you disagree with it. But if it's, and I think a lot of these people do it for followers. They lean politically to get followers, tying to what Andrew said. But the problem is a lot of times they don't have the funny behind it. It's just for clapter comedy, we call it, where it's just like nobody's laughing, but they just clap at all your points.
And some people genuinely believe in those
Yeah,
things. Like when I look
fine.
at when I look at Crowder, I see Crowder stuff. Like I think he genuinely is conservative.
Yeah.
Like that is his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he also wants to be funny.
Sure.
And the way that he's going to be funny is with that leaning.
Sure.
Me personally, I like to have the ambiguity of my thoughts because I think it helps the joke because I am a comedian before I'm anything else. Right? So I don't want you to know where I'm going to go with it. And I think that's the predictability thing that annoys us about late night and a lot of different shows. It's like, we know the angle.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's fun to watch the redhead girl. I wish I knew her name. Just Pearly Things, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fun to watch her put together that idea.
Yeah.
Because whether she believes it or not, to me, doesn't matter. I'm like, ooh, that's a unique thought that could be funny
Yes.
that I haven't heard of.
Yeah.
You know? And I think oftentimes the jokes that lean just one specific direction, doesn't matter left or right, we've kind of heard. These ideas aren't that new.
Yeah. I think if you ever go through the process and be like, nah, we don't give them that shield, then at that point it starts to become a thing where you now have to start picking and choosing, and then it becomes a much more difficult conversation. So I generally, if people are trying for jokes, like, you let that slide. But there are times I'm like, I don't think this bitch is joking. I think this is how she really feels. And even though it might be saying a joking tone, I let it slide because at the end of the day, there's no way of knowing.
It bothers me
But-
more because I can tend to agree with Andrew. A lot of times, I don't know if it's what you really feel. I think a lot of times it's, I want to get followers, and this is the way to
Because
throw
like,
them.
you've been to shows before, and you heard a comic say some jokes, and you're like, just like, you let it slide because at the end of the day, everybody has the right to. But something in the back of your head thinks like, there's a little bit more there. Does it ever happen to you?
A little bit more meaning what? I used to do this when dudes were trying to get on stage.
Okay.
You know, I'd be like, man, this joke isn't because you love comedy and you really want to express this opinion you had.
Yeah.
Or you just really want to express yourself creatively. This is, I'm gonna be on stage, there's gonna be girls in the audience, and I'm gonna say this, and they're gonna think I'm funny. I guess. So I would resent that.